Welcome back to the deep dive. You guys sent us a really interesting article from CNBC about former President Trump's announcement of a strategic cryptocurrency reserve for the
Oh,
U.S.
yeah. This is a really big deal.
It is.
Has the potential to really change how the government approaches cryptocurrency.
It's a huge announcement, and it definitely caused a stir online. Trump went on Truth Social to kind of lay out his plan, and he said, "I will make sure the U.S. is the crypto capital of the world."
Wow.
Pretty bold statement.
Yeah, it really shows that he wants to put the U.S. like right at the front of this whole crypto world.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that this comes after his executive order on crypto back in January.
Right.
So I think a lot of people in the crypto community are going to see this new announcement as a good clarification.
For sure. And speaking of reactions, the market responded almost immediately.
Yeah.
XRP jumped 33%, Solana went up 22%, and Cardano, oh my gosh, 60% increase. Yeah, and even Bitcoin and Ethereum went up 9 and 11% respectively.
That's crazy. I think it shows a couple things. First, it shows how much influence Trump still has in the crypto world.
Yeah.
I mean, these prices went up just based off of a suggestion
Right.
that they would be included in this reserve.
Yeah.
So there's obviously this strong belief that government backing is going to lead to more people using crypto and that the value is going to go up.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So let's actually dive into what this crypto reserve would be. The article makes a point of saying that a reserve is different from a stockpile.
Oh, that's an important distinction.
Yeah, I think so too.
So a stockpile, is just holding existing assets that the government maybe already has. Like they seize them or something.
Yeah.
You're just holding on to something valuable, but you're not really like actively managing it.
Yeah.
A reserve, though, that suggests that they're going to be committed to buying and managing the cryptocurrency.
So like an ongoing investment strategy?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Interesting. So it's not just a one-time thing?
Right. And actually, this idea has been evolving for a while now.
Oh, yeah. I remember Trump talked about it at Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville.
That's right. Back then, it was all about a Bitcoin stockpile for the country.
Uh-huh.
Then people started calling for a strategic reserve, and that gained traction after he got reelected.
Okay.
But his executive order from January kind of muddied the waters a bit.
How so?
Well, it focused on digital assets,
Right.
which is a much broader term
That makes sense.
than just Bitcoin.
Yeah, I can see why people were confused because it left it open to, really any cryptocurrency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It left people wondering, what exactly were the government's plans?
Right.
And then we had all this uncertainty until this new announcement where Trump actually named XRP, Solana, and Cardano.
Yeah, so it's like he finally revealed what cryptocurrencies would be in the U.S. crypto reserve.
Mm-hmm. And the specific coins, they got a boost in value just from being mentioned.
For sure, but it's not just about the price. It could also signal like a change in how the U.S. government thinks about the whole crypto market.
Yeah, it seems like they're going from just watching to now actively participating.
So what does this all mean for the future? We have this big announcement, the market is going crazy, and then there's this upcoming White House crypto summit.
Yeah, this summit could be like a defining moment for how the government is involved with crypto.
Mm-hmm.
It's a chance for them to, actually give details about this reserve.
Okay.
Like how it will be structured, how they'll pay for it, and what their overall goals are.
Right, and will they answer the reserve versus stockpile question?
That's the big one.
Yeah.
Because those two approaches are so different.
Yeah, it's passive versus active, and that could really affect the future of the crypto market.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think this is really just the beginning.
Right.
There's so many more questions to be answered.
Yeah.
Like what criteria will they use to pick more coins?
Yeah.
And how will this affect crypto around the world?
Right. Yeah. Definitely a lot to think about. Well, let's go back in time a bit and dig deeper into the historical context. We were talking about how this idea started as a Bitcoin stockpile and evolved into this crypto reserve.
Yeah.
Can we explore that a bit more? Maybe it will help us understand why we're here.
Yeah, it all goes back to those first mentions of a Bitcoin stockpile at Bitcoin 2024. It was almost like they planted a seed for this strategic reserve idea. And remember, back then, Bitcoin hit all-time highs.
Oh, yeah.
So even then, there was this feeling that if the government got involved, crypto would grow.
It makes sense. That excitement would continue to build.
It did until that executive order in January.
Right.
That language about digital assets, it caused some uncertainty in the market.
Yeah, it's funny how just changing a couple of words can have such a big effect on how people interpret things.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's why this announcement from Trump is so important. By actually saying XRP, Solana, and Cardano, he got rid of the ambiguity.
Yeah, and gave a much clearer picture of what the U.S. crypto reserve might actually look like
right? And the market loved it.
They sure did. But why do you think those specific altcoins were chosen? What does that tell us about what the government is thinking?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? We can only guess right now.
Yeah.
Maybe it's about their market cap.
Okay.
Or how innovative their technology is. Or maybe they just really aligned with U.S. policy goals. I guess we'll have to wait for the White House Crypto Summit.
Yeah, speaking of the summit, what do we think they need to address?
Well, for me, the biggest question is how they plan to pay for this reserve. Will it be government spending? Or will they, sell other assets? Figuring out how to pay for this will have huge implications.
And of course, we have that reserve versus stockpile debate.
Right. CNBC really emphasized that difference.
Yeah, and I think it's at the heart of a lot of the uncertainty.
A stockpile means they just passively hold on to the crypto.
And a reserve.
A reserve means that they're actively trading in the market, buying and selling.
Wow. So what would that look like if they actually went that route?
Just imagine the U.S. government buying and selling Bitcoin XRP Solana Cardano.
That's wild.
They could have a huge impact on prices.
Yeah. I mean, that brings up regulation.
Right. If the government's going to be this involved, how do we make sure everything is transparent?
And that they're accountable.
Exactly. It's going to be tricky to balance government involvement with the whole idea that crypto should be decentralized and free from control.
Yeah. This White House Crypto Summit is going to be crucial.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They need to address these concerns.
Definitely.
They need to explain what they're trying to do and hopefully give us some clarity.
For sure, this is a huge moment for the future of crypto in the U.S., and I think the whole world will be watching to see what happens. It's interesting that they started by just focusing on Bitcoin, but now they're including all these other altcoins.
Yeah.
What do you think caused that shift?
Well, the whole crypto market has been growing like crazy.
Sure.
Especially in areas like DeFi and NFTs. Maybe you haven't heard of those terms, but DeFi is basically revolutionizing finance by building it on blockchain technology.
Okay.
And NFTs. Those are digital assets that show you things like art or collectibles.
So they're basically recognizing that crypto is a lot more than just Bitcoin now.
Right. It's this whole ecosystem with all these projects and possibilities.
Yeah. And now the government wants to be a major player. But how did they choose those specific altcoins? What message does this send to other countries that are also working on digital currencies?
That's a great question. It's probably a combination of things.
Yeah.
I mean, they are some of the biggest altcoins by market value, so that might have played a role.
Okay.
And then the technology is also important. Each coin has its own unique features and capabilities.
Do you think they were also thinking about how much potential these coins have for growth?
Oh, definitely. And we can't forget about the global aspect of all this.
What do you mean?
Other countries like China, they're already making big moves with digital currencies, like their digital yuan. So this U.S. crypto reserve, it could be a way to make sure America stays in the lead when it comes to the global financial system.
Wow, so it's like a whole new financial order is emerging.
Yeah, and the U.S. wants to make sure they're not just at the table.
Yeah.
They want to be leading it.
Okay, so the U.S. is embracing this whole crypto ecosystem. But what about the U.S. dollar?
Yeah.
I mean, people have been talking about crypto replacing traditional money for a while now.
There are definitely people who think that cryptocurrencies are a threat to the dollar being so dominant. They see it as like a winner-take-all situation.
Yeah.
But there are also people who think they can work together, crypto and the dollar.
So it doesn't have to be one or the other.
Exactly. I mean, think about the internet.
Okay.
It didn't destroy traditional media. It just made it change and adapt.
Right.
Maybe crypto will do the same thing to the dollar. Maybe they'll make it better.
So instead of being afraid of it, they could use it to their advantage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which brings us back to this White House Crypto Summit. We need to pay attention to how the U.S. plans to maintain the dollar's importance globally.
That makes sense. You mentioned the difference between a crypto reserve and a stockpile before. Can you explain that for our listeners? Why is it so important?
So a stockpile is basically just collecting a bunch of something and holding on to it.
Like hoarding it.
Yeah, exactly. In this case, it would be like getting a bunch of crypto and just sitting on it.
Just to protect against inflation or diversify?
Right. It's a very passive approach.
Okay, what about a reserve?
That's different. A reserve means they'd be actively buying and selling.
Okay.
They'd be responding to the market and maybe even trying to influence it.
Wow. So like instead of just keeping your money in a savings account, you're investing it in the stock market.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And that's where things get tricky because people worry about manipulation.
Right. Could the government try to change prices for their benefit?
It's definitely possible. which is why transparency is so important.
Yeah, if they're going to be this involved, we need to know exactly what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then there's the question of how they'll pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Are they just going to spend government money and add to the national debt? Or will they find another way?
This is where things get complicated. We're talking about combining government finances with the wild world of crypto.
Exactly. And this could affect other countries, too.
How so?
While other countries are watching what the U.S. does, this whole thing could start a trend of government-backed crypto reserve.
Interesting.
It could change the entire world of international finance.
So this could really shift how power and influence work globally.
Right. And that brings us back to that big question we asked before.
Mm-hmm.
What does it really mean for the U.S. to become the crypto capital of the world?
Yeah, it's a really bold goal, and it comes with so many questions. We've covered a lot today from the announcement and how the market reacted to what this could mean for the dollar.
Yeah.
But now I want to shift gears and talk about what this means for regular people like our listeners.
Good idea. After all, this is all going to affect people's lives.
So let's say you're someone who's just starting to learn about crypto. What should you be paying attention to with all this news?
First of all, always remember that crypto is still really risky.
Mm-hmm.
This announcement doesn't change that. You should always be careful.
And never invest more than you can afford to lose.
Exactly. And always do your own research.
Right.
But on the other hand, this could be a sign that crypto is becoming more legitimate.
Okay.
More people might start using it, which could mean prices go up.
So if you believe in crypto, this could be a good thing.
But again, be careful and do your research.
Got it. What else?
Well, remember that the crypto world is new and changing constantly.
Right.
New technologies and innovations are always coming out, and the regulations are still being figured out.
So you got to be able to adapt.
Exactly. You can't just invest and forget about it.
Yeah.
You need to stay informed and change your strategies as needed.
That's why shows like this are so important.
Yeah, we're trying to give people the information they need to make good decisions.
We're not giving financial advice or anything. But we want to help our listeners understand this complex world.
It's an exciting time because we're exploring all this new territory together.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how this technology could change the world.
I know we talked about it briefly, but let's come back to how this could affect things globally.
Yeah,
It's not just about money and technology. It's about power and influence.
absolutely. When the U.S. says they want to be the crypto capital of the world, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's telling other countries that the U.S. wants to be the leader in this space.
Okay, so how do you see this playing out? Will other countries try to create their own crypto reserves?
It's definitely possible.
Uh-huh.
We've already seen countries like China investing a lot in their own digital currencies.
Yeah.
So yeah, this could make other countries try to catch up.
So it could become like a digital arms race?
Yeah. But what would that mean for the world? Would it make things less stable?
Or would it actually be good because it would create more competition and innovation?
It's hard to say. It could go either way. On the one hand, if everyone's just focused on their own thing, it could be harder to do business globally.
Okay.
And it could make the financial system less stable because all these different currencies would be fluctuating against each other.
So even if the U.S. gets what it wants, there are still risks.
Exactly. But on the other hand, competition can be a good thing. It can push people to create new and better things.
Okay.
If countries are competing to be the best in crypto, it could lead to new technologies and better financial services.
And it could give people more control over their money.
Exactly. So there are good things and bad things to think about. But one thing's for sure.
What's that?
Crypto is already changing the world, and the U.S. getting involved is only going to make that change happen faster.
Okay, so we need to watch how the U.S. positions itself in all of this.
Yeah, this White House Crypto Summit is going to be really important. We need to see what signals they send to the rest of the world.
What are some things you'll be watching for?
Well, first, I want to know if they're serious about actively managing this reserve or if they're just going to hold on to the crypto.
So basically, are they going to be traders or hoarders?
Exactly. And then we need to know what kind of rules they're going to put in place
Right.
to make sure everything's transparent and they're not manipulating the market.
So we need clear rules to keep the market stable.
Exactly. Another thing I'll be watching for is how they talk about the U.S. dollar.
Okay.
Are they going to admit that crypto could be a problem for the dollar's dominance?
Yeah.
Or will they say that the dollar can adapt and stay relevant?
It's like they're trying to embrace crypto without hurting their own currency.
Right.
Uh.
And finally, we need to pay attention to the overall tone of the summit.
Uh-huh.
Are they going to work with the crypto community, or are they going to try to control everything?
I think it would be a lot better if they worked with the community.
I agree. It was showed that they actually care about innovation and want to do this the right way.
So basically, the whole world is going to be watching to see how the U.S. approaches this.
Exactly. The stakes are high, and they have a lot of decisions to make.
This is definitely a story that's just getting started. We'll keep following it closely and bringing our listeners all the latest developments.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack here. But now I want to focus on one specific thing. The altcoins they chose for the reserve.
Okay.
I think this is where things get really interesting. I mean, it's one thing to talk about a crypto reserve in general.
Right.
But when they name specific coins, it raises a whole new set of questions.
It's like they're sending us a secret message.
Okay. We have to try to figure out why they chose these specific coins.
Okay, so what can we learn from the selection of XRP, Solana, and Cardano? What does it tell us about the government's strategy for crypto?
What each coin has its own strengths.
Okay.
For example, XRP has been used for cross-border payments for a while now, and they've partnered with some big financial institutions.
So maybe they're trying to figure out how to use blockchain technology to make international payments faster and cheaper.
Yeah, they're not just focused on speculation and making money.
Right.
They're thinking about how this technology can be used to solve real-world problems.
Okay, what about Solana?
Solana is super fast and has low fees.
Okay.
So it could be used for decentralized applications or even challenge Ethereum in DeFi.
So it seems like they want to make sure there's competition in the crypto world.
Right. They don't want any one platform to become too powerful.
And then there's Cardano.
Yeah, Cardano takes a more academic approach to blockchain, and they focus on sustainability and social impact.
So maybe the U.S. wants to support projects that are ethical and responsible.
Exactly. So by choosing these three coins, they're showing that they have a broad view of crypto.
It's not just about Bitcoin or making money.
Right.
It's about technology and ethics and recognizing all the different possibilities of crypto.
It's like they're building a diverse portfolio.
Interesting.
But remember, we're still in the early stages of all this.
Yeah.
The decisions they make now could have a huge impact on the future of finance.
So as we watch this White House crypto summit, we need to pay attention to the details.
Absolutely. Trying to read between the lines and figure out what they're really trying to do.
Because this isn't just about Bitcoin going up or down.
Right.
This is about the future of money and power and technology.
It's about how the world is going to work in the future.
It's a complicated topic, but we're glad we could dive into it with you today.
Yeah, I hope this has helped our listeners understand what's going on.
And we encourage everyone to keep learning and asking questions.
Yeah, the future of finance is being created right now, and we can all be a part of it.
This really feels like a whole new chapter is beginning when it comes to the future of money and finance.
Yeah, it really does.
And like you've been saying, this move by the U.S. could totally change things, not just for crypto, but for global power too.
I know, it's kind of crazy to think about. It's like everything in finance is changing, right in front of us.
Yeah, the old way of doing things with banks and regular money is being challenged by all this decentralized technology like crypto. And the U.S. is basically saying, hey, we want to be the leader in this new world by embracing crypto and making this crypto reserve. But we've talked about all the challenges and questions that still need to be answered.
Totally. And I think one of the biggest is what happens to the U.S. dollar. I mean, it's been the top currency in the world for so long.
Right.
But now there are all these new digital currencies popping up.
It's like the dollar has some serious competition for the first time in forever.
Yeah, and some people think crypto could actually hurt the dollar.
How so?
Well, they think that because crypto is decentralized and can be used across borders, it could make people stop using the dollar.
Okay, so they see it as a threat to the U.S. economy and its power.
Right. But other people think crypto and the dollar can actually work together.
Okay.
Like maybe the dollar can adapt and start using crypto technology.
It doesn't have to be a fight where one wins and one loses.
Exactly. I mean, think about what happened with the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Traditional media didn't disappear. It had to change and adapt. Maybe the dollar could do the same thing with crypto.
Interesting. So maybe they could even create a digital dollar.
Yeah, backed by the U.S. government.
So instead of being scared of crypto, the U.S. could use it to make itself even stronger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why this crypto summit is so important.
Yeah.
It's a chance for them to explain how they see crypto fitting into the global economy.
What do you think they should do?
Well, I think it'd be smart to work with other countries on this.
To create some global rules for crypto.
Exactly. Otherwise, everyone might just do their own thing, and that could create problems.
So the U.S. could really influence how this all plays out.
Yeah, this is a really important moment for the whole world, but It's not just about countries and economies.
Right.
It's about how this affects regular people, too.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's people who feel the impact of all these big changes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I find so interesting about crypto.
What's that?
It could give people more control over their money.
Yeah, we've talked about how crypto could change the whole financial system, but it could also make things fairer.
Right. Imagine a world where everyone can access financial services no matter where they live or how much money they have.
That would be incredible.
And crypto could make it happen. People could send money across borders easily and participate in the global economy more equally.
That's a really powerful idea, but we can't forget about the risks.
Of course not. Crypto is still volatile. There are scams, and we need good regulations to protect people.
So it's important to be realistic about both the good and the bad.
Yeah. But I think it's clear that crypto is changing the world already.
And the U.S. deciding to create this crypto reserve is a really big step.
This is just the beginning of the story.
Yeah, there are so many questions still to be answered, and we're going to keep following it all closely.
We've only scratched the surface, but I hope we've given our listeners a good overview of what's happening.
And the most important thing is to keep learning and asking questions.
Absolutely. The future of finance is being built right now, and we can all be a part of it.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive into crypto and finance and even geopolitics.
Yeah, we've covered so much today.
It's definitely a topic that will keep changing and surprising us.
I hope we've helped our listeners understand this complex topic a little bit better.
And we always encourage you to keep exploring and having conversations about this.
Yeah, the future's being created right now, so stay curious, stay informed, and get involved.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll be back soon with another episode exploring something new and interesting. Until then, keep diving deep.